Every town has a story. Ours has Blackwood Cabin. It's a place people whisper about but never visit. They say anyone who spends the night there never comes back the same. I never believed it until I found out what really happened one summer. It started with a group of 4 friends, college students who wanted one last adventure before graduating. Their names were Daniel, Sarah, Chris, and Emily. Daniel's uncle owned a cabin deep in the woods, untouched for decades. It wasn't on any maps, had no cell service, and was miles from the nearest road. He offered them the keys, joking that it was haunted. The friends laughed it off. A weekend in the wilderness sounded perfect. They packed supplies, a camera, and enough food for 3 days. But from the moment they arrived, things felt wrong. The cabin stood half-rotted, swallowed by trees. Windows were cracked, the door hung crooked, and the air inside smelled like mildew and rust. But stranger still were the carvings on the walls, symbols none of them recognized. That first night, they built a fire and played cards, trying to ignore the strange atmosphere. As the flames died, Chris swore he heard footsteps outside, heavy, slow, circling the cabin. They brushed it off as animals. Yet when they checked in the morning, large footprints surrounded the cabin. Bare footprints, too big to be human. On the second day, Sarah found something under a loose floorboard. A journal. The leather was cracked, the pages yellowed. It belonged to a man named Thomas Blackwood, the cabin's original owner. The first entries were normal, hunting notes, weather reports, daily life. But as they read on, the tone changed. Thomas wrote of hearing voices in the woods, seeing figures between the trees. He claimed something lived there, something that watched from the shadows. His last entry read, "It wants me. If you find this, leave. Do not stay another night." That night, they should have left, but they didn't. The fire crackled weakly as the woods grew silent, unnaturally silent. No crickets, no wind, just silence. Then came the knocking, slow, deliberate, from the back door. When Daniel shined his flashlight, there was nothing there. But when he turned back, the front door creaked open on its own. They locked every window, every door, but the knocking continued. Sometimes on the walls, sometimes on the roof. At one point, Sarah swore she saw a face staring through the glass, pale and grinning. None of them slept. By morning, Chris was gone. His sleeping bag was empty, his shoes missing. They searched the woods for hours, shouting his name. No answer. But near the tree line, Emily found something. Chris's phone, lying in the dirt. The screen was shattered, but one final video remained. It showed Chris filming himself, whispering frantically, "It's following me. It's not normal. Don't let it in." The video cut off with a scream. They packed immediately, but when they tried to leave, the trail they had come in on was gone. Every direction looked the same. Endless, twisting forest. That evening, Daniel grew restless. He said he heard Chris calling from the woods, begging for help. Sarah begged him not to go, but he grabbed a flashlight and disappeared into the trees. Minutes passed. Then an hour, then 2. He never came back. Now, only Sarah and Emily remained. They huddled together in the dark cabin, every creak of the wood making them jump. Around midnight, Sarah whispered that she saw Daniel standing at the tree line, motionless, just staring. But when Emily shined the light, his eyes reflected, like an animal's. And then, he crawled into the shadows on all 4s. By morning, only Emily stumbled out of the forest. She was found wandering a highway, barefoot, covered in scratches, clutching the journal. She never spoke of what happened that night, not to the police, not to her family. The only thing she ever said was, it wasn't Daniel anymore. None of them were themselves anymore. The cabin was burned down years later, but hunters and campers still report strange things in those woods. Bare footprints in the mud, faces in the trees, voices calling their names. Sometimes, late at night, drivers claim to see a barefoot woman walking the roadside, clutching an old leather journal. That's the story of the disappearance at Blackwood Cabin. Was it a haunting, something unnatural living in the woods, or just paranoia tearing friends apart? Whatever the truth is, it's a story this town will never forget.